Okay, I'm going to go on to chapter 13 of my autobiography, 7 Years to Life. The name of this chapter is Princess Bay, Part 1. The other day I was explaining to my wife and my oldest boy my theory of what heaven, hell, and purgatory were. This started a discussion among the three of us where we exchanged thoughts and theories about the existence of these places. My wife made an interesting comment stating that it was possible to have heaven on earth. I disagreed with her but fully understood the context that if we were devoted enough to being kind and respectful, not only of others, but being truly grateful for the wonders that the world provides, it could be considered heaven on earth. If anyone is capable of pulling it off, it would be her. My disagreement centered around how the encumbrances of the human body and mind, with its imperfections and weaknesses, along with the evil that we are faced with on this planet, are the flaws in her theory. This conversation, however, reminded me of a story I was going to tell a little later in this book, but I decided to tell it now because I thought, because though I did not find heaven on earth, I think I found the closest thing to it. Princess Bay was a vacation spot where our family would spend the summer if my dad was not away at sea. The summers that I knew in advance that my father would have time off, I would look forward to because I enjoyed every moment of every summer that I ever spent at Princess Bay. Princess Bay was a vacation community that consisted of rich people who owned summer homes there, but it also consisted of lower to upper class families that rented bungalows for the summer. We were one of those middle class families that would rent a bungalow. My dad, mom, brother, Aunt Betty were the usual residents. For the kids who lived the city life of New York, Princess Bay was like Fantasy Island. Everyone got along with each other. The adults got along with other adults, rich or poor. The most amazing thing about vacationing there was the adults also got along really well with the children. Incredibly, as a child, your parents would allow you to go anywhere on the island as long as you were home by 10 p.m. Of course, this had a lot to do with the fact that the adults spent most of their days and evenings at the local bar, slurping down clams and oysters, along with their fair share of beer. The kids spent most of their time out on the beach or along the pier doing a variety of summer activities. Further inland, there was a small forest with a creek that ran through it. The forest was beautiful, and the creek provided entertainment such as catching guppies or frogs. For the more industrious, it provided a treasure trove of mussels that could be dug out of the creek's banks. Not to mention, it was a backdrop of many war games that we would play. The rented bungalows were pretty close to each other, and they all shared a common backyard. I can remember clam bakes, beers, horseshoes, and other games being played in the backyard, and as I looked around, it was just people of all ages having fun. My Aunt Betty fell in love with Jake there, and though it did not last, I think he was the love of her life until the day she died. As the day turned to night, the kids would rush inside and get the necessary tools and small bottles with twist caps in order to deposit in those bottles the lightning bugs they would catch that night. It was one of those places where fear was non-existent and fun and friendliness was as natural as taking a breath. I heard an occasional, "Oh, do we have to come in now?" But other than that, I don't think I ever heard people yelling or fighting with each other. It was a different time in history where hopes and optimisms for a bright future ran high.